Hello, it's Randi Rhodes. Here's a clip from our show, and go to randirhodes.com for the whole thing and a podcast. Buy a stinking podcast.
Mary had a little man.
The fault. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon. I have a dream today. Change has come to America.
Believe me.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show. Turn up your mind.
So I just heard that they broke into the office of one of my personal attorneys, good man, and it's a disgraceful situation. It's a total witch hunt. I've been saying it for a long time. I've wanted to keep it down. We've given, I believe, over 1 million pages worth of documents to the special counsel. They continue to just go forward, and here we are talking about Syria. We're talking about a lot of serious things with the greatest fighting force ever. And I have this witch hunt constantly going on for over 12 months now. And actually much more than that. You could say it was right after I won the nomination it started. And it's a disgrace. It's frankly a real disgrace. It's an attack on our country in a true sense. It's an attack on what we all stand for. So when I saw this and when I heard it like you did. I said, that is really now in a whole new level of unfairness. So this has been going on. I saw one of the reporters who is not necessarily a fan of mine, not necessarily very good to me. He said, in effect, that this is ridiculous. This is now getting ridiculous. They found no collusion whatsoever with Russia. The reason they found it is there was no collusion at all. No collusion. This is the most biased group of people. These people have the biggest conflicts of interest I've ever seen. Democrats, all, or just about all.
What?
Either Democrats or a couple of Republicans that worked for President Obama. They're not looking at the other side. They're not looking at the Hillary Clinton horrible things that she did and all of the crimes that were committed. They're not looking at all of the things that happened that everybody is very angry about, I can tell you, from the Republican side, and I think even the independent side. They only keep looking at us. So they find no collusion, and then they go from there and they say, well, let's keep going. And they raid an office of a personal attorney early in the morning.
This military parade Trump's planning might be awkward. He's going to ask the military to surround his own Department of Justice, where he's handpicked every single person. Like I said, what he says is meaningless. It's meaningless. You know what was fun about that yesterday? First of all, I heard it on the way home. I didn't see it. And then when I saw it, I was like, oh, when John Bolton looks freaked out by something, you know that you've gone too far. The best part about it was watching Mike Pence, the concerned look Mike Pence. Somebody needs to tell him that he's just an extra. Okay, he was picked because he looks like the vice president at a central casting, and he's not supposed to emote so much. But I mean, he was acting. He looked like. Did you see? He looks like very concerned, Mike Pence. Very, very, very concerned.
Democrats.
What?
All, or just about all. Either Democrats or a couple of Republicans that worked for President Obama.
Okay, this is not true. I just want you to know this for those who are sticklers here and might fall for some of his BS. It is not true that there are Democrats or Obama holdovers who signed off on the warrant to search Michael Cohen's home, office, and hotel room. Oh, my God. He's staying in a hotel. He's staying at the Lowe's Regency on Fifth Avenue or Park Avenue because his all this money he's using to renovate his apartment. I hope that requires him to put fire sprinklers in because, Trump built his only building, 1983, prior to needing fire sprinklers. As you know, over the weekend, it caught fire. And there were no sprinklers in the Trump Tower because Rudy Giuliani, whose name is going to appear many times today, Rudy Giuliani decided as mayor of New York that if Trump wasn't going to do major renovations on his 1983 building, he didn't have to fork over the cash to pay for fire sprinklers, which would have cost him a big $4 a square foot to put into Trump Tower. So he never did put those sprinklers in. But, now that Michael Cohen is renovating his apartment, hopefully, Mayor de Blasio will require him to put sprinklers into his apartment just in case it catches fire. Like Trump's building. Anyway, but here's the good thing. I mean, just watching him yesterday lie, there are no Democrats that signed off on this warrant. You know what happened now, right? Mueller got this information about Michael Cohen, about the bank. Remember, Michael Cohen's own bank flagged the $130,000 payment to Stormy Daniels as suspicious. Remember that? Yeah. And so that came across Mueller's desk, right? And Mueller decided this is not part of the Russia inquiry. The other Michael Cohen stuff is part of the Russia inquiry. The part where he's in business with, Russian mobsters in the taxi business. The part where Michael Cohen may have gone to Prague to talk about, the hacking of Hillary Clinton's emails and what to do about it. The stuff that was in the Steele dossier. That's part of, my... And then, but the Stormy Daniels, that's not really part. So, what I'll do is I see criminal wrongdoing here. I see the Treasury Department flagged these things as being suspicious transfers. I mean, he opens up a shell company and then, all of a sudden money goes flowing in, money goes flowing out to an attorney. Maybe he lied on the, home equity line of credit about what he needed the money for. Who knows? But some sort of bank fraud seems to have crossed Mueller's desk because that is what this is about. This is about bank fraud and other things. And yes, his taxi medallion that thing is under investigation too. It's part of the warrant. It's part of the filing. Yeah, and I'll tell you about that in a minute. But just to refresh your memory, because constant listeners, loyal clients of the Randi Rhodes podcast know that Michael Cohen's been in business in the taxi business, and Felix Sater obviously is cooperating, and these are his, Russian friends. These are Michael Cohen's Russian friends. Remember, he grew up in Brighton Beach. He grew up in a very Russian part of Brooklyn. I'm from there, so I sort of get a feel for it. But anyway, so Mueller decided that that's not part of what he's investigating Michael Cohen about. He's got other things about Michael Cohen he's investigating. And so he referred it to New York State. And I think for many reasons, many reasons. One, the most important is he needed, to let somebody know that Michael Cohen was being flagged for bank fraud. And yet it wasn't part of the Russia thing. So he gave it to New York. He gave it to the U.S. Attorney in New York, who was handpicked by Donald Trump to replace Preet Bharara. This is Preet Bharara's old job. And 3 months into the Trump presidency, Trump fired Preet, right? And then he left it to, to an interim. Now he's gone and hired another guy, Jeffrey Berman, who's... I mean, when his face was on the TV last night, it's like, didn't we have drinks with him once? I mean, why do we know everybody? It's just so, because, he worked for a law firm where Howard also worked. And so he goes, I know him. I know him. Well, Jeffrey Berman, here's a little piece of information, was picked by Donald Trump, handpicked by Donald Trump to take Preet Bharara's job. But guess what? He's not been confirmed by the Senate. He's the interim U.S. attorney, and he recused himself. Another recusal that is not going to make Donald Trump very happy. You know why? Donald Trump not only handpicked Jeffrey Berman, but insisted on having a face-to-face meeting with Jeffrey before he actually nominated him to replace Preet Bharara. He actually, remember, there was a whole story. Why is Trump inserting himself into the U.S. attorney's offices? Why is he interviewing U.S. attorneys? I mean, that's not the role for the president. Jeff Sessions is the attorney general. This is the way it's supposed to go. And then the Senate confirms but Trump did handpick Jeffrey Berman, and he did personally interview Jeffrey Berman. And he did it probably to get some sort of sense of his loyalty to Donald Trump. And here, the first major referral to the New York State office falls on Jeffrey Berman's desk. And the first thing he does, he recused himself. Can't do it, can't go there, can't have it, Sally, can't do it. You're out. So he actually recused himself. So that means that the warrant to raid an attorney's office, which is a very high standard. I mean, just think about it. You're the judge, right? You're the judge. Make yourself the judge right now. And here comes a request for a search warrant to search the President of the United States personal attorney's office, his house, and his hotel room, and to retrieve his cell phone, his papers, his computers. Really? I mean, you're the judge. There's attorney-client privilege. It's the president's personal attorney. The special counsel is investigating this same guy for other things. Are you going to sign off on that unless you say, show me what proof you have that this man is involved in bank fraud. Show me the proof you have that this man was involved in something, illegal. You better show me. You better show me. You better prove, because I'm not signing off on this freaking thing. And they go, okay, here's what we have. And the judge goes, oh, snap, and issues the warrant. And Rod Rosenstein, who could have stopped it, Jeff Sessions, who could have stopped it, Jeffrey Berman, who may have been able to stop it, recused himself just like Sessions did, and Rosenstein goes ahead and signs off on it. So the president is lying.
Just about all. Either Democrats or a couple of Republicans that worked for President Obama.
Not true.
They're not looking at the other side. They're not looking at the Hillary Clinton.
She's not president. Get over it.
All of the crimes that were committed. They're
he
not
must
looking
wake
at
up
all
in the
of
morning
things that
thinking about
happened,
her.
That everybody is very angry about. I can tell you from the Republican side, and I think even the independent side, they only keep looking at us. So they find no collusion.
Who?
And then they go from there and they say, well, let's keep going.
Who?
And they raid an office of a personal attorney early in the morning. And I think it's a disgrace. So we'll be talking about it more. But this is the most conflicted group of people I've ever seen.
Who?
The Attorney General made a terrible mistake when he did this and when he recused himself, or he should have certainly let us know if he was going to recuse himself, and we would have put a different Attorney General in. So he made what I consider to be a very terrible mistake for the country. But you'll figure that out. All I can say is after looking for a long period of time, not even before the special counsel, because it really started just about from the time I won the nomination. And you look at what took place and what happened, and it's a disgrace. It's a disgrace.
I think that's his favorite word, besides for believe me. His favorite word has got to be disgrace. We should make it's so annoying, though, to make a mashup of him. It just gets on my last nerve. No, it's fine. It's fine. Forget that I even requested. No, I don't want to hear it. Everything with him is a disgrace, except for himself, and except for the people he surrounds himself with, except for the Scott Pruitts of the world, and except for the people that the Manaforts and the Michael Flynns and the Rick Gateses, right? The Attorney General of the United States is not your personal attorney. He's my personal attorney. He's the people's attorney. And what are you going to say when you find out Jeffrey Berman, the U.S. attorney that you handpicked and interviewed personally to gauge his level of loyalty to you, also recused himself? I'm pretty sure he doesn't know. I'm pretty sure no one is aware of this because it just happened. Okay. Well, the news did. RandiRhodes.com for the whole thing and a podcast. Buy a stinking podcast.